There have been developments in the last 24 hours around former President Jacob Zuma's attempt to have the senior advocate Billy Downer removed from his corruption case. He is now, according to News 24, going to the Constitutional Court to try and get the highest court in the land to basically tell the SCA that it erred by refusing his special plea to get Downer off this case. He was trying to appeal an earlier decision that went against him. Let's talk about this with Mbekezeli Benjamin, Research and Advocacy Officer at Judges Matter. Mbekezeli, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. So according to this report published by the team at News 24, having read the papers, they say what the former president is basically saying is that the head of the SCA, Judge Mandisa Maya, misdirected herself. Did she?
Good afternoon, Tembegile, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. Well, on my reading of the papers that President Zuma has filed, I've read all 519 pages of them, and I can't see where they specifically say that she erred in taking the decision that she took. And the basics that they filed the papers in the Constitutional Court is that she misunderstood or misapplied her discretion in a technical procedure called a reconsideration. The reconsideration application is an extraordinary remedy. It's only for those exceptional cases where an injustice will arise through the Supreme Court of Appeal's decision to dismiss an appeal application. And I don't see how President Zuma's application is one of those exceptional cases. And for that reason, I can't see how they say that Justice Maya misdirected herself.
And as you say, important, of course, to get the wording right. It's about her misdirecting herself. According to what has been put in these papers, how different is the argument this time versus what the former president's legal team has put forward before? Because there have been multiple applications, even in the High Court in Pietermaritzburg, to try and get Downer off the case.
I think that's the key issue in all of this. The arguments that they make are no different from the arguments that they had made both at the High Court level and when they first applied to the Supreme Court of Appeal. Basically, they're rehashing some of those arguments, but I think the difference that they add, that is his legal team, is that now, by the fact that Justice Maya didn't order a reconsideration of the application, then that is an injustice and a violation of President Zuma's constitutional rights in Section 34 and 35 of the Constitution. Now, that for me does not give rise to the Constitutional Court stepping in and changing or reversing Justice Maya's decision. In fact, I imagine and I anticipate that the Constitutional Court will dismiss this case without even a hearing.
How much further can all of this go? Because it's basically gone to every court in the country at this point, with the legal team for the former president trying to get a favorable outcome but not succeeding. So how much longer can they drag it out?
Well, I think the Constitutional Court is the final door that they can knock. And like I said, the Constitutional Court is unlikely to give them any hearing or even open any window for them of opportunity. So the likelihood is that it will be dismissed, and then the case will have to go back to the Pietermaritzburg High Court for the corruption trial to proceed. And we heard already the expression the frustration that was expressed by Judge Cohen, who said that his hands are tied. It is President Zuma who is using his constitutional rights to seek an appeal, and he, as a judge, cannot stop him. And I think that's an important part in all of this, is that some of these legal cases really, really do not have any merit. It's really done to grind down the process in what is called the Stalingrad litigation strategy. It is a risk for the judiciary. It shouldn't happen, but there's nothing that can be done legally, because the Constitutional Court does give President Zuma and any other person in this country the right to file an appeal.
So just on that, yes, Judge Pitkun did say that the former president has every right to exhaust the various avenues that he has in order to get the fair treatment which he's seeking, according to his team, from the judicial system. How much longer can that hold if he's knocked on almost every door and then unsuccessful. Will it come to a point, do you think, where Judge Piet Koen says, okay, you've gone everywhere, let's just get to the bottom of it?
Well, that is what is likely to happen in the next couple of months, because as you know, yesterday they filed the court papers at the Constitutional Court, and like I said, the Constitutional Court is unlikely to entertain this case, let alone give it a hearing. And once the Concourt gives an order, then it has to go to the Pietermaritzburg High Court for the corruption trial to proceed. So there is no way of avoiding the corruption trial going ahead in Pietermaritzburg. I think the only thing that has been achieved is just the delay to that process unfolding. But as for whether it can be avoided, I certainly don't think so.
The head of the Supreme Court of Appeal, Judge Mandisa Maya, will now be interviewed in the coming days to become the Deputy Chief Justice of the country. Now, if the issues around the former president on this score in particular aren't resolved by then, when, let's say, she joins the bench, do you anticipate it may become somewhat of a problem for her?
No, I certainly don't think so. Like I said, in this particular case, she exercised her discretion looking at the law and applying the law as it has been applied in dozens of other cases in the past. So I don't anticipate that it would be an issue that comes up in the interview. What might possibly come up during the interview is perhaps an issue that related to the administration of these appeals. It's something that was reported on in the last couple of weeks, where there was a miscommunication by some of the court officials, and the Office of the Chief Justice even went as far as issuing a statement on this. But beyond that, I don't think that this issue is going to be any problem for Justice Maya, or is it going to even arise at the interview on Monday?
Mbekezeli Benjamin, good to have your thoughts as always. Research and Advocacy Officer at Judges Matter.